If you're new to Watcher of Realms, you might question yourself if Marri is a good hero or should I avoid her. If you already watched other guides about her, you might know she is often considered S tier. Sadly, from my new player experience, this is only half the truth. And it comes down to how well her skills are upgraded. If you are new to the game too, they are likely not skilled at all. Personally, I regret investing in her early on without taking a closer look at her first. But in later campaign stages, I see her as mandatory to freeze enemies that tend to be a bit unfair. I personally consider her only S tier when you are approaching mid to end game content. Meaning when you are about to have a fully developed level 60 roster with 4 to 5 solid DPS that she can support. In this guide I'll explain why Marri can be a trap for new players in my opinion, and under which circumstances I would definitely use her. To understand why she can become a very strong pick and why she is naturally a weak one, we need to look at her base stats, understanding how damage is calculated in Watcher of Realms, and take a look at her skill set. Even though her abilities are often hyped, I want to start with her base attack at level 60 and compare to other epic heroes. Marri, with just under 1800 attack, has a very low base attack compared to Greed with about 3000, Iona with 3450 and Nassim with 3650. You might ask, why is this important? I give her gear and she'll make up for it with her amazing skill set. Well, here's why new players should think twice before adding her to their roster. When we have a look at the damage calculation in Watcher of Realms, we see in the first step the target defense is subtracted from the attacker's base attack before any other modifiers are applied. So Marri needs double the attack of Iona just to break even and do meaningful damage. This was exactly the problem I faced as a new player while progressing through the campaign and other content. I repeatedly hit walls where Marri dealt a minimum 5% damage to targets, because her attack was outmatched by enemy defense, while Iona with the same gear shredded enemy waves. To highlight this, I put the same gear set on both Marri and Iona. The result, Marri's damage was far too low, while Iona was just right for the content. In the end, the best utility is worthless if you can't meet the minimum DPS needed for each monster wave. Another issue is gear scaling. To put this into a picture, the 60% attack bonus ring gives Iona roughly 2040 attack, but only 1050 to Marri. The difference is already around the value of this attack ring. Even if you stack Marri with attack and attack percentage gear, she still won't have enough attack for endgame content. Now, why can she still be top tier under certain conditions? That becomes clear when we look at her skills. When Marri uses her ultimate, she unleashes a blizzard that freezes all enemies in range. This is an amazing way to buy extra time to kill enemies. For example, when your tank's block rating is overwhelmed by too many enemies, or when enemies deal more damage than your tank can handle. Her auto attack inflicts slow, another great utility. On top of that, she has a 35% chance to produce icicles at 3 random targets. Even the icicles deal little damage, this ability is still valuable because of the icicles effect. They inflict slow and also apply magical and physical vulnerability to slot enemies. Many say these icicles apply a flat 20% vulnerability, but that's not the case for new players. The skill starts at 10%, increases to 15 at level 3, and reaches 20% at level 5. When we have a look at the damage numbers on this boss, we see that the 50% debuff increases the damage dealt by 50%, by comparing the first stat when the debuff is applied. So Marri becomes decent when Icicle reaches level 3 and strong at level 5. If Icicles is only level 1, Marri's 10% vulnerability boosts all damage dealt to your target by just 10%. Since Drake Chasm only allows 8 heroes, you can't fully compensate her low damage, and instead another DPS would bring more value. At level 3, 50% vulnerability, you do still need 6 to 7 DPS heroes to make up for missing damage. Difficult if you also have a tank and a healer, leaving only 5 DPS slots. She really starts to shine when Icicles is at level 5, in a scenario where you have 5 or more DPS heroes attacking her target. In that case, you compensate her missing damage with 5 times 20% extra damage, which is the equivalent of 1 extra DPS. Another good scenario to use her is when you have a few very powerful DPS heroes and a mediocre one. Swapping out a weaker DPS for Marri can boost the overall damage output. For new players struggling to gear a full level 60 hero roster, Marri can be also a useful support pick, because she doesn't need any gear to provide a 10 to 20% damage buff. Now I want to talk about how to equip her. Because her DPS is low anyway, gearing her is pretty easy and cheap. I recommend equipping her with gear that provides attack speed and rage regeneration, so she can apply her debuffs to more enemies and use her ultimate more often. This also helps maintain her debuff uptime on targets, because her debuff lasts about 1.5 seconds, but her base attack speed is only 2 seconds, so you need to bring it below 1.5 seconds to prevent downtime. I hope this information helps you to decide if you want to put resources into Marri and when to use her. In summary, Marri shines when her Isaac hit skill reaches level 5 and at least 5 other heroes are attacking her target, such as in guild raids like Drake Chasm and Titanic Ruins. Avoid building her for attack, instant focus on attack speed and rage regen, and before building her, I advise to build another 2 to 3 DPS mages. You will need them for campaign chapter 9 anyway. Choose carefully when to use her and consider building up strong DPS heroes first before adding her to your roster. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.